In this video, I'm gonna give you guys 10 tips and tricks on how to use the Homer character in Free Fire. Now before I tell you guys the tips and tricks, I wanna tell you guys that I'm gonna be doing another giveaway. To know more details about the giveaway, make sure to watch until the end of this video. So without wasting any more time, first let's start with tip number 1. For the first tip, I wanna give you guys a quick explanation on the Homer character skill. So when we activate the Homer character skill, he has the ability to send a drone towards the nearest enemy within a 100-meter frontal distance. Now this can be very useful to find the enemy's location. I'll talk more about that in tip number 2, but now when the drone reaches the enemy, it creates a 5-meter diameter pulse explosion which reduces the movement speed of the enemy by 60% and the firing speed of the enemy by 35%. Not only that, it also does 25 damage to the enemy. This will last for about 5 seconds, and after that there will be a 90-second cooldown time until you can use the Homer character skill again. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 2. As I said earlier, the Homer character has the ability to send a drone towards the nearest enemy within a 100-meter frontal distance. Now if you pay attention to where the drone goes, you will be able to know the enemy's location. Now this can be very useful in many situations. For example, when we land and loot in the beginning, there could also be other enemies that are looting near us. If the enemy has already looted a gun and we go near the enemy without a gun or a vest, there's a high chance that the enemy could take us down. So when you land and loot, you can use the Homer character skill to know if there's an enemy nearby. If you haven't looted a gun or a vest yet, you can avoid going near that enemy if you know the enemy's location. So try to use the Homer character skill when you land and loot in the beginning. Another situation where this can be useful is when you go and loot in another location. Sometimes there could be enemies that are looting in that location, so you can send the drone to know if there's an enemy nearby in that location. After that, you can decide whether or not to rush and attack that enemy. Another situation where this can be helpful to find the enemy's location is when you hear enemy footsteps. Sometimes, although we hear enemy footsteps, it's a bit hard to find the enemy's location, so you can use the Homer character skill at such situations. If you pay attention to where the drone goes, you could find the enemy's location. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 3. I think the Homer character is actually one of the best characters for solo ranked matches. As I said earlier in tip number 1, when the drone reaches the enemy, it creates a 5-meter diameter pulse explosion which reduces the movement speed of the enemy by 60% and the firing speed of the enemy by 35%. Now this can be very useful when rushing your enemy. First, you can send the drone towards the enemy. When it reaches the enemy, it does 25 damage to the enemy. Not only that, the enemy's movement speed and the firing speed will also be reduced for 5 seconds. Now that 5-second time period is a good time to rush and attack that enemy. But don't let your guard down because the enemy could headshot and take you down. So make sure to be a bit careful when rushing the enemy. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 4. The Homer character skill can also be very useful against the Wukong character. As you guys might know, it's a bit hard to attack the Wukong character when he turns into a bush. But if you guys use the Homer character skill against the Wukong character, it can break the Wukong character's bush. Since the movement speed and the firing speed is also reduced in the enemy for 5 seconds, it can be much easier to take down that enemy. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 5. When using the Homer character skill, try to activate it a few seconds before engaging the enemy. The reason that I say this is because it takes a little bit of time for the drone to go towards the enemy after activating the skill. So try to activate the skill a few seconds before engaging the enemy. Now before I tell you guys the 6th tip, I want to tell you guys more details about the giveaway. So guys, I'm gonna be giving away 3 items to 10 lucky winners. So first let's review those 3 items one by one. The first item that I'm gonna be giving away is this Galaxy Star Sky female bundle. Here you guys can see the overall look of the Galaxy Star Sky female bundle. What I really like about this bundle is the blue color animation that it has, especially on the top and in the shoes. The second item that I'm gonna be giving away is this Cosmic Dragon Skywing. Out of all the Skywings, this is actually my new favorite Skywing. The third item that I'm gonna be giving away is this Guardian Dragon animation, which I personally think looks very cool. Now 10 lucky winners have the chance to get all these 3 items. To enter the giveaway, make sure to comment down your North American server UIDs and also comment down your thoughts on these 3 items. I'll personally pick 10 North American server UIDs from the comment section and I'll send it to Free Fire so that they can send those 3 items to the giveaway winners. So guys, now let's get into tip number 6. The Homer character can also be useful when throwing grenades. When we normally throw a grenade towards an enemy, sometimes the enemy quickly runs away from the grenade. So to slow down the enemy's movement speed, you guys can use the Homer character skill. When the enemy's movement speed decreases for a few seconds, it can be a bit hard for the enemy to run away from the grenade. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 7. For the 7th tip, I'm gonna tell you guys a character combination to use the Homer character. The first passive character of this character combination is the Hayato character. The second passive character of this character combination is the Kelly character. For the third passive character, you guys can either use the Maxim character or the Jota character. So now let's move on to tip number 8. As I said earlier in tip number 1, the cooldown time of the Homer character is 90 seconds. So to decrease the cooldown time by 15%, you guys can use the Rocky Pet. So now let's move on to tip number 9. There are sometimes when we do a lot of damage to the enemy and then the enemy quickly runs away to a cover. At such times, try to use the Homer character skill. If by any chance the enemy has less than 25 HP left, you could easily take down that enemy by sending the Homer character's drone. So now let's move on to tip number 10. Sometimes players use the Homer character skill to attack enemies who are in long range. If your plan is to find the enemy's location, it's okay to use the Homer character skill from long range. But if you're planning on rushing that enemy and you send the drone drone from long range, the enemy might easily heal that 25 damage by the time you reach the enemy. So if you're planning on rushing the enemy, I recommend that you use the Homer character skill in short range. As you guys might know, the new CS rank season has come out, so check out this video if you guys want to know 20 tips and tricks that can help you to push your rank fast and win matches in Clash Squad ranked.